chemical constitution. That means it consists of proteins, lipids, DNA, RNA, ribosomes, and vitamins, as well as the different minerals and traces. And all these things are present within the mitochondrial matrix, where the tissue cycle or Krebs cycle takes place. So these are the 4 parts of this mitochondria, means 2 membranes and 2 chambers. Now another important thing regarding this mitochondria is, as already we have discussed, that mitochondria contains mitochondrial DNA, which is circular and naked. It also contains ribosomes, 70s, just like that of the prokaryotes. It also contains RNA. That means mitochondria has a capacity of synthesizing some of the proteins by itself, though it cannot synthesize all the proteins. For most of the proteins, it depends on the nuclear gene. But since it contains DNA, RNA, ribosomes, it has capacity of synthesizing some of the protein by itself. That is why the mitochondria is semi-autonomous. That means, if you study the autonomy, then it is known as semi-autonomous, not fully autonomous, because it cannot synthesize all the proteins required by it. Only few are there. So it is semi-autonomous. Now another aspect. Now the mitochondria is comparable to a prokaryotic cell. In prokaryotes, the DNA is circular and naked. Here also the DNA is circular and naked. In prokaryotes, 70s ribosomes are there. Here 70s ribosomes are there. In addition to that, here also all types of RNAs are there, and also in prokaryotes RNA is there. And the prokaryotes, they divide by fission. The mitochondria also divide by fission. That means, if we discuss about the similarity with the prokaryotes. Similarity with the prokaryotes. So what are the similarity? That is DNA. DNA is circular and naked. Then RNAs are present. Then the third one, the 70s ribosomes are present. And the fourth one is both of them divide by fission. The mitochondria also divide by fission, and also the prokaryote divide by fission. That means these characters of mitochondria are similar to that of the prokaryotes. That is why this led some scientists to suggest that mitochondria was earlier one prokaryotic cell, and somehow it entered into the eukaryotic cell for the purpose of symbiosis and permanently retained there. So we can call it as the mitochondria can be called as endosymbiont. Endosymbiont. That means it is present within the eukaryotic cell for the purpose of symbiosis, endosymbiont. Or we can tell a prokaryote cell within one eukaryotic cell. We can call it as a prokaryote within eukaryote. The prokaryote is mitochondria, and the eukaryotic cell is present. Prokaryotic cell within prokaryotic cell within eukaryotic cell. Or this is known as endosymbiotic theory. So these two things are very important. What is the autonomy? It is semi-autonomous, and it has some similarity with the mitochondria. That is why it is known as endosymbiotic theory, or a prokaryotic cell within eukaryotic cell. Then we will discuss regarding the different types of functions. And the most important function is energy production. Energy production. That is why the mitochondria is known as the powerhouse of the cell. It is known as powerhouse of the cell. So actually what happens in this inner chamber or matrix, when Krebs cycle takes place and the different reduced coenzymes are produced, these reduced coenzymes like NADS2, FADS2, they undergo electron transport through this inner membrane where these elementary particles are present. That means if this is the inner membrane, then this is the elementary particle, this is the elementary particle, and this is the outer membrane. So when electron transport system will take place here, the electron transport system will take place, it will push protons to the perimitochondrial space. And this is the inner matrix. This is the inner matrix where there will be decrease in proton gradient, and in this the outer chamber there will be increase in proton gradient. And due to this differential proton gradient, when they will move inside, inside means towards the matrix, here the ATP synthetase enzyme is there, which will combine ADP and inorganic phosphate to give rise to ATP. So this takes place during oxidation of this reduced coenzymes. That is why this is known as oxidative phosphorylation. And at this time, the outer chamber becomes acidic due to accumulation of the protons. So that is why this is known as the powerhouse of the cell. In addition to this, there is another function that it is responsible for maternal inheritance. Maternal inheritance. Usually what happens when the egg and the sperm, they combine together to give rise to the zygote. This is the zygote. That means in this case, the mitochondria, this is the egg and this is the sperm. That means to this zygote, the mitochondria comes from this egg only. The mitochondria comes from the egg, not from the sperm. This is known as maternal inheritance of the mitochondria. That means always the mitochondria comes from the mother, not from the father. So that is one important function. Then the third function is mitochondria sometimes contains genes for male sterility. Male sterility. And the plants which contain genes for male sterility, in that case the anthrax will be produced, but pollen grains will not be produced. So in that case, if we use that plant as the female plant, then emasculation is not necessary, and easily we can make cross without emasculation, because here only the female part is active, the male part is inactive, so emasculation is not necessary. So that is also one of the very important functions. Then the next one is inside the mitochondria, when Krebs cycle takes place, several intermediates like alpha-ketoglutarate acid, succinic acid, malic acid, fumaric acid, all this citric acid, these different intermediates are produced. And from these intermediates, other compounds like pyrimidines, cytochromes, chlorophyll, alkaloids, and the different types of substances are produced. So provides intermediates for chlorophyll, cytochromes, then pyrimidines, then steroids and alkaloids. So all these substances can be produced from the different intermediates. And the fifth function is, from the different intermediates, the fatty acids are synthesized. Fatty acid synthesis, fatty acid synthesis takes place from intermediates, and another is also the amino acid synthesis. Amino acid synthesis. For example, from alpha-ketoglutarate acid, the glutamic acid is produced. From pyruvic acid, then alaline is produced. From oxaloacetic acid, aspartic acid is produced. So they are all intermediates of the Krebs cycle. So this is about the structure, function, autonomy, and the similarity with the prokaryotes. So we have covered most of the things about the mitochondria. Whatever question will be asked on mitochondria, will be able to answer the questions. Thank you very much for watching the video. Wish you a very bright future. God bless you.